Social media basic training for small businesses. I'm Jan. I'm the Sales and Marketing Web Solutions Small Business Division over here at 352 Media Group.
And my name is Amy, and I work in the marketing department here at 352 Media Group, handling social media and search engine optimization.
So Amy and I are going to be going back and forth here, taking turns talking about the various pretty simple steps that you can take to grow your business via social media. We're going to be monitoring questions throughout the chat. Chime in if you have any questions, but for the most part, we're going to be answering the question of the presentation in a short Q&A session. So don't be surprised if we don't get right to that question immediately. Already keep in mind this is a primer for small businesses, so we aren't going to be going into real specific detail. It is an overview, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be a few gems in here for everybody. So without further ado, Amy is going to go ahead and start us off.
And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the basics of social media and kind of an overview of the industry in general. It isn't just a passing trend in technology anymore. It's growing into a cultural phenomenon which has become great for businesses and marketing opportunities if the strategies are implemented properly. It's beneficial to brands for two big reasons. The first is it allows brands to engage directly with their consumers, and social media is also sending signals that are influencing your search engine optimization as well. Exactly how these signals are being incorporated into SEO, we don't know yet. Google is notoriously tight-lipped about their search algorithms, but Google's announced that they will start factoring in signals from Facebook and Twitter when they're computing search engine rankings. So a little overview of the social media landscape as it is right now. About 4 out of 5 adults who are considered active internet users visit social networks and blogs. And as of right now, Facebook is the most site with American internet users. It is more popular than eBay, email, online banking, any other sites that people are using right now. About to say that social media has helped them acquire a customer in some way. And websites that have social media features on their sites get 4 times as many unique visitors as sites that don't have social media features. About 80% of execs say that social media has helped their brand in some way. So all of this is really important for marketing purposes. The biggest benefits that marketers see to using social media are that it will create exposure for their business, increase traffic for their website, as well as increase their search engine. Importantly, it generates qualified leads and improves sales. So with all of the benefits that social media has to offer your business, what do you need to know to make sure that you're using social media wisely and staying competitive? The first thing that you need to do is familiarize yourself with the types of social media you can use to market your business. The big ones that will be focusing Facebook, Twitter, and blogging. So we're first going to dive into Facebook. A couple of facts about Facebook before we get started. It tends to be the most popular with business-to-consumer interactions. It's because to engage directly with customers or prospective customers in a way that they can websites. This is helpful because it increases a sense of engagement and helps build customer loyalty. Over 90% of people who are fans of a Facebook page will recommend said brand to their friends, and more than a third of people are more inclined to purchase a product from a company they are a fan of on Facebook. Brand recognition is a really big selling factor, and Facebook allows an easy and, most importantly, free way to engage with your customers online. Facebook recently hit the 800 million user mark, and with more than half of social media users following a brand online, that's more than 400 million people following a brand on a regular basis. This is a huge market that you can tap into if you're using social media purposes properly. So now that you know a little bit about how can you use it to benefit your business's brand? The first thing that you'll want to do is set up a Facebook page, not a profile. Profiles are reserved for individual users, whereas pages are used for products and services. If you've already set up a Facebook page, that's awesome. If you haven't, you'll definitely want to do that to benefit from all of the good uses that Facebook has to offer. But just establishing a Facebook page isn't going to be enough. You want to make sure that your page features information about your product or service, photos, news and updates related to your business that you are hosting. You just don't want to let your page sit dormant. You want to make sure that it's not just set up and then you leave it. Once you establish your Facebook page, you want to spread the news. Make sure to invite your friends, coworkers, business contacts, etc. on Facebook. 90% of people trust their friends, while 33% of people trust online ads. So inviting people you know to your Facebook page is a way to spread the news about your business and increase brand awareness. Another way you can do this is to implement Facebook ads as a way to spread. Now this is good from traditional advertising purposes because it shows Facebook users their friends who like a certain page. For example, if Jan was a fan of 352 Media on Facebook and 352 Media was running a Facebook ad, it would display on Facebook as an ad for 352 Media Group with a little line underneath it that says, Jan likes this. So connecting a friend's approval of a brand is a really good way to try and draw people into your product page, their connection with that user to your product. Another great way to grow your Facebook audience is to use your newsletter, website, or email signature to encourage your customers to become a fan of your page on Facebook. Once you have your Facebook page up and running and you're spreading the news, the next thing you want to do is make sure that you are spending time updating your page frequently. A few times a week, you want to post status updates that reflect a good mix of information related to your business specifically. It could be any news pertaining to your business, specials on products or services you offer, any new offerings or events that are happening, as well as information related to your specific industry. It's important to remember that people don't like being nagged about buying or using a product or service, and Facebook users will quickly tire of this practice. Facebook users are more likely to respond to a status or post that evokes a genuine response, not something they think is one pitch after another. So make sure that you're varying your information and that you're asking them simple questions to gain feedback about their thoughts and opinions. Focus on avoiding we statements such as we just launched, and make sure that you're asking your users their thoughts and opinions. It's really great to remind Facebook fans about a sale that you're running until the end of the month, but make sure you're also providing a good mix of soft sells for your product with genuine questions to engage your users. A good tip could be to offer promotions. Companies that have promotions or contests on their Facebook have twice as many fans as those who don't offer promotions. A simple thing you can do is offer a discount code to your fans or offer some sort of fan giveaway to entice people into engaging on your page. For example, one of our clients, which is a limo company in Tampa, offered a free limo ride for people who shared experiences they've taken. So they asked people to post their favorite memories on their Facebook wall, and at the end of the contest, they gave away a night of free limo service. Facebook recently shook things up a little bit and changed ways that it handles business profiles, which makes it even more important to post relevant and engaging material on your Facebook page. Or irrelevant posts will now have less visibility. Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, said, you actually have to deliver something to the customer rather than just being a person spamming. Their new search algorithm favors brands that post engaging content and gives priority to these brands in newsfeed. So if you're constantly posting something about, we offer this, we do this, our website, and you're not engaging your fans, they're not commenting, they're not posting, you won't be as favored as, say, a brand who is doing that and they are implementing these best practices and getting good feedback from their fans on Facebook. Once you've established your page and started posting relevant, engaging posts, you want to make sure that you're following up with your fans. If they comment on your wall or respond to one of your posts, reply back to them. This will create the feel of a real conversation, not just that they're on another static site where customers don't receive personalized responses. If they ask questions, provide them with an answer. Once your page's fan base grows, of course, it'll be a little more difficult to reply to every person who might post on your wall, but try to keep the conversation going and address your customers' wants and needs as well as answer their questions. Now, this applies to negative feedback as well. Good, bad, and ugly, make sure that you respond to posts on your wall. For example, if you host an event that went well and people are posting on your wall about how great the event was, thank them. Thank them for attending, thank them for planning the event, etc. If there was something that went wrong with your event and people are posting negative feedback on your wall, the worst thing you can do is ignore it. Whether you posted something that your users found offensive, or problems with the event you hosted, whether the problems were your fault or not, or you've had issues delivering a product or service as was promised, you need to just blunder. Hiding it from your users doesn't do good. Mistakes aren't necessarily going to make you or break you, but having consistent mistakes and not learning from them might. If something went wrong, apologize and actually own up to it on your Facebook page. If people are complaining, acknowledge their concerns, apologize, and say how you're working to resolve the issue. Make sure you're honest with your fans, though. Don't promise something as an effort to save face and try and escape this. Realize that complaints might go on for a short period of time, and you don't have to keep apologizing for an extended period of time down the road, but you need to be extra vigilant during the aftermath to make sure people realize you're aware of the issue and are trying to fix it. If something happens that's out of your control, for example, if on the day of your event you have bad or hot weather, if the catering company you hired shows up 3 hours late, if a shipment of your product gets stuck in another state, don't just point fingers and say that it's not your fault. Still apologize for what happened, even if it wasn't completely in your control. Say what the issue was, tell people you're trying to work on it, but again, don't just lie to them just in an effort to save face, be honest, and thank them for their patience. If people really start getting negative and aggressive on your wall, again, just apologize and own up to it. Mistakes will happen, and it's how big difference. In the online world, nothing can ever be permanently deleted, so remember that how you react to something will be around for users to reference long after the bad event has passed. As an example, there is a New Year's Eve event that was going on in Washington, D.C., and the company, let's say they're called Fritz and Frank. They had hosted several parties in the past. They had a lot of feedback from them. They went out of their way to make sure that they drew a lot of attention to this event and built a lot of hype around it. They secured a really great location and made everybody very excited for their event. At the evening of the event, things got a little out of hand. People were spending 30 minutes waiting outside just to get inside, which, as you can imagine, on New Year's Eve in Washington, D.C. and drizzly weather, people were very unhappy and very cold. Once people got inside, there were long lines for coat checks. There wasn't enough staff to supply food or drinks as was promised, and the staff actually walked out during the event. So, there was nobody manning any of the food or drink stations. Coats went missing from the coat check. People were leaving the event without the things that they brought. It was just a horribly executed event, but without an organizer's control at the time. There was only so much they can do. After the event, a Facebook group formed calling for Fritz and Frank to never throw an event again, and people started sharing all of their bad experiences on this Facebook group's page. So more and more people were commenting on it, and people were getting very angry and very upset. Eventually, Fritz and Frank owned up and apologized for everything, even though not everything was within their control. They still tried to make sure that they knew that people knew that they realized there was a problem and that they wanted to try and make something better. So they ended up offering everybody who attended the event gift cards to their restaurants as a way to apologize. Now, they may have lost money by offering people these gift cards, but at least they tried to save face and own up to their mistakes, and they stopped it from getting cold in the end. So that's kind of a little bit of news about Facebook pages, how you can set one up, posting, etc. And before we move on, I want to note about Facebook pages. Facebook is currently in the middle of undergoing changes, including how pages are going to look. They are set to unveil a new feature called, which will change the way that pages are displayed. Now, timeline is out for people's personal profiles very soon. I believe they said it was set to come out today. And usually what happens is some personal profiles first, and then will become available to brand profiles. Now, what pages look, they shouldn't affect how the pages operate necessarily, what information you can put on there, how you should manage your page, anything like that. So I want to implement all of these best practices and talk about them, but just realize that the way that a Facebook page looks different a few weeks down the line. And as things change and as the brand pages start to look a little different, you can check back on our blog. So we'll include more pertinent to how you can use the timeline feature for Facebook brands. All right, and with that, we're going to turn it over to Don, who's going to.
All right, great. Thank you, Amy. That was very informative. So next thing here, we're going to talk a little bit about Twitter. And so this is where you're distributing messages, which they call tweets. And it's a little unique in that you have to say something of 140 characters. So it's very important for you to be succinct and say something that's actually of value there. It's really great because you're able to engage instantly with businesses and consumers, your prospects, actually existing clients. The size of it is not quite as large as Facebook, but it's still nothing to scoff at. There were, at the end of June 2011, 200 million tweets per day. So that's certainly nothing to scoff at. So how are we going to have you guys use this for actually, increasing awareness? Well, the first thing, of course, is to set up your Twitter handle. So the Twitter handle is essentially just your username. It's going to need to be something that's unique, obviously, distinguishes your business from other businesses. Typically, you want it to be something that's pretty easy to remember. If somebody's typing in Twitter, you just want them to type in your company name and bam, it's there. It's real easy. You essentially have an app, and then whatever it is that you end up creating. For example, we have at 352 Media. So there are some cases where it's going to be a little difficult to create something that's exactly to your company name. An example is maybe Gentle Dental for a dentist. If there's several of those throughout the country, maybe you can include the location. So Gentle Dental Boston or something to that effect. So you can also, and actually really need to, put a small synopsis as a bio for the company. And this, again, is going to need to be very concise, very relevant. You have a few more characters, but 160 characters is certainly not a lot to be describing your business, especially if you offer tons of services like we do. But you can see our marketing department here has done a very good job of putting a bio there that's succinct, but that we do. So the next thing that you're going to need to do is build your follow. What really makes Twitter unique in terms of how that's working, instead of it just being like fans where you can actually reach out directly to your customers and follow them and respond to them in addition to them following and to you. So what you're going to want to do is follow customers. You're going to want to follow industry professionals, other people that that just have interesting information. For example, 352, we follow a file sharing system called Dropbox. They have lots of interesting information that they're talking about. Journalistics, which is a blog focused on public relations and journalism. And then a whole host of other industry heavyweights in web development and digital marketing and things like that. So once you have all that set up, of course, you're going to actually want to start tweeting. And so this is going to be pretty similar to what you're doing on Facebook. But obviously, you have a much shorter area there for you to be talking about what's important. So again, you just really need to focus on message, simple and succinct. So it's also going to be something where you want to interact with it regularly. Do so more than on Facebook. Facebook is definitely a couple of times a week at least, but on Twitter you can get away with every day or maybe even several times a day. But of course you're going to want to keep it from being 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day, because then it just becomes noise and people either stop following or just really pay attention anymore. And again, just like with Facebook, interact with people, ask them questions, specific personal response to people. Try to make it more like you are a person group and not just 352 Media Group. Because the more that you can engage people, have these unique conversations with them, of course, the more you're building trust or your customers and other people in the industry, and referrals go a long way. So if they're not perspective, they've followed your tweets and they have a lot of respect for what you say. They're having a conversation. That person needs your services, and all of a sudden they connect directly to them. So again, Twitter has some very powerful options here for you. The social media front, definitely something that's going to be important for everybody to take a serious look at. So next, take a little bit of a divergence here into blogging. So Amy, go ahead, take it away.
Get into blogging, we had a couple of questions going back. One of the questions being, why not include a lot of statements? And the reason why you want to include we statements as well as you statements is you statements are really what's going to build that. You're constantly just talking about we, or what you're doing. Similar to how you're having a conversation with your friend. If your friend is always saying, I'm doing, this is what I'm doing, you're not getting engaged in that conversation. They're not talking with you, they're talking at you. So just like you're having a conversation with your friend, you would want to ask them questions, and you will probably want to know things about them. So that's why it's important to use you statements as well as another question that came up was if there's a way you can link the profiles you have so that you constantly are into, say, Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn. And there is a way you can do that in Facebook and Twitter. You can actually Facebook and set up your account states that you post on your page are automatically tweeted out to your Twitter followers. This is a way you can kind of do 2 for 1. You also your account, maybe you also want to supplement that so it's not just the exact same messages across Facebook and Twitter constantly, but also making sure that your tweets on Twitter that aren't just stuff from your Facebook page. And even through LinkedIn, you can anything that you post on Twitter, you can have that posted to your LinkedIn profile as well. So now moving off of Facebook and Twitter for a little bit, we're going to dive into the world of blogging. And it's the third social media tool that is also really important for your search engine optimization strategy, SEO strategies in just a few minutes. But blogging is a really great way to engage users who worry about character limits. with Twitter, you have 140 characters in your tweets. With Facebook, you don't necessarily want to go on for paragraphs about information. You'll just see a lot of text and kind of, move away. Blogging is a good way that you can have an in-depth conversation, provide a lot of information compared to just those other two forms of social media. Companies that actively use the blog receive over 55% more traffic than companies that don't blog, and more than half say that they are better known in their industry because of their blog. An easy way that you can maintain a good blog strategy for social media purposes as well as SEO purposes is to write just one post a week on your blog, and this will also make sure that it's well indexed by search engines. Write one blog post a week that describes anything that's happening in your industry, news about maybe a new product or service you're offering, promotions or specials your company is running, any other information you think that your visitors would want to see. And remember that it's not always about the hard sell, and that your blog readers won't be interested in reading pitch after to how your Facebook page and your Twitter works as well. You want to vary your content, and is to end each post with a question as a way to engage readers. If you're talking about, for example, on our page, we sum up things that have happened in social media, and we go through and we post a lot of information, and maybe at the end of it, we're asking for user feedback. What do you think of these changes? What do you think of the new changes that have happened on Facebook and Google+? What are your reactions? This is a good way to get people talking and commenting on your blog, and maybe it's a good way to also increase them for sharing it across the various platforms. If they find the content interesting, engaging, maybe they're more likely to retweet it or post it on Facebook, which again gains more. You can also feature links that go to other sites on your blog that you think your visitors might be interested in. Many blogs feature a blog roll, friends, or resources section on their homepage that will display links to other websites, and this is a really great place for you to feature sites you think your visitors might be interested in. Of course, you don't want to include your competitors, but just other industry-relevant sites or businesses that you often work with. You can feature links to industry-related sites you think your visitors will want to see. For example, on our blog roll, we link to other marketing and social media sites. And while these sites are similar to what we offer, they aren't direct competitors, so linking to them is a problem. And while it's okay to host your blog on a platform such as WordPress.org, the most ideal thing for you to do is feature a blog off your own domain name so that you're driving user traffic to your website, not to a third-party blogging site, blogger.com or WordPress.com. WordPress.org or having a blog off your own domain will help drive users to your website, so you're getting back that web traffic and you are increasing exposure to your website. Whereas if you had a blog that was, say, on blogger.com, you're essentially driving people away from your site, which isn't what you want to do. So increasing the visits to your website will, help keep your users engaged and build a conversation, and it'll also increase your rankings in search results, which is part of a really good SEO strategy that Jan is about to speak about.
All right, great. So while SEO is a little bit outside of just your kind of social media, it's still very important, obviously, but what you're writing on your website is still something that you're reaching out to your visitors and trying to interact with them. I mean, it's not every few minutes or every day, but it definitely is a voice from your company. And so what it is that you're, first of all, on there, and what it is that is getting you ranked well in Google is, of course, very important. So for those of you out there that might not even know what we mean here by search engine optimization and SEO, it's pretty simple. Let's see here, sorry. So it's basically getting yourself ranked well in Google, and it's really important to get yourself on page 1 as opposed to just page 2 or 3. 70% of people click on just the top 3 results that are appearing on page 1 of Google. So if you're on page 2, you may as well be on page 5,000. In addition to that, 96% of people are clicking on the first page of the results. So again, if you're not on that first page, you're really, really missing out. So, what can we do here to get ranked well? So the first thing, of course, is going to be the right keywords so that when Google is indexing the website and taking a look at it, it's finding very relevant information. And so in order to be able to do that, you really have to come up with a whole host of phrases that go well beyond what your is or your specific product that you're offering. It's going to need to be something that is a relative, a range in terms of the phrases, because people are searching all kinds of different things to be able to find your product. So for example, if somebody types in 352 Media Group, of course, they're getting right to our page. We're number 1. There's no other 352 Media Group. But people aren't only going to be searching that, of course. They're going to be searching for things like web development company or web design. And so we've taken a lot of efforts ourselves to to do the research and find out that these are terms that people are searching. SEO strategies actually have done quite well, and we rank very well for these particular phrases. So again, compiling a list, 40 words that you think are appropriate, not just these are things that I think someone is going to be searching for, but things that really just describe their industry. And then once you have that list, you can kind of mix and match and start what it is that that really describes the business and is going to be what people are searching for. You don't be specific, because then you're only reaching a very small audience, but at the same time, you don't want them to be too generic, because that's going to make them very, very competitive and very difficult for you to end up getting to page 1. Another strategy for finding keyword phrases is to research your competitors. Find out things they're appearing under. Go to their website, look at their content, look at the titles of the pages, get a grasp of what they're doing, because if you can end up getting ranked well for those terms, then of course you're driving traffic away from their site and bringing it directly to yours. So once you have these keyword phrases, what's next? Of course, now ready to optimize. There are 3 very specific places where you're going to want to optimize the website. So there's title tags, and there's body content. So let's talk about each of these elements are. So the title tags are the title of the page, obviously, and that's what's the browser there. You can see here small business web design is what's in the screenshot. Now, it's not necessarily here to have your business's name as the first part of the title. A lot of websites have that because they think that's so important, but your business name is going to be relatively unique. Even if you have a similar business name to someone else, you're probably in a slightly different industry or a different location, so that's naturally just going to get optimized. So you want to make sure that the keyword phrases that you're putting here in tags are unique there for the keyword and not really including. So the next piece then is the H1 tags, and so the H1 tag is also known as a heading tag, and that's basic content, and that's a better small business web design and marketing company. So that helps Google when it's crawling through the website. It's looking at that initial one that sees content that it feels is really relevant, then it's going to start to give you, clout there for those keyword phrases. And then the next most important piece is the actual, to make sure that you're including enough of these keyword phrases on the particular pages, but you don't want to put too many keyword phrases on there and include them too many times. Some best practices are anywhere from 1 to 3, at most maybe 5. But Google's pretty, you don't want to go crazy with putting these keyword phrases throughout, or you're going to start to get penalized. So it's also really important to note, you want to target very specifically that group of keywords, a singular page. So if you're targeting 4 keywords on the home page, you want to get other pages within the site don't target those either, and that you have numbers for those that you've got on the site, so that there's that differentiation between them. Otherwise, Google's going to start to think that it's duplicate content. And of course, you want to make sure that the content itself is very relevant to those keyword phrases and not just kind of stuck in throughout the body copy. It still also needs to relate. Google is smart enough to be able to figure that out. So what you can do then with the body content is to make sure that content on a regular basis. And it can be a small update. It doesn't have the entire page is updated every day or every week, or you're going through and writing new dates. We have a small section on our website that has a little "Did you know?" thing, and that's actually on several different pages. So we were able to change that up, and it gives Google that heads up that, hey, there. However it is that Google figures this out, it feel like if you're updating content on your website regularly, then your business is thriving. So that's a very important thing for you to do. Another update content is a news and press piece on the website. So you can kind of think of that as like an old school blog. That's going to be a little more formal, but is going to have the same kinds of things where you're talking about the company. It doesn't necessarily have to be a press release or anything, but one way or another, it's fresh content, and again, it's signaling to Google, hey, something's going on here. The business is active and thriving, so I should give them preferential treatment over other sites that aren't updates. Another great way is blogs. So Amy alluded to the fact that having a blog on your domain is important, and the reason for that, when Google is crawling your site, if it sees this updated content pointing directly to your URL, then it's giving the bonus to like for us 352media.com. But if it's something that's hosted on something like then it's 352media.com.wordpress.org. And so you're kind of competing against yourself in the search engine, and that content is going to be similar on your homepage and on your blog. And if those two are disconnected, again, you're essentially competing against yourself. So once you've done all this, it's really art to your efforts. This is really important so that you start off on the right foot with Google, and once launched, if this is a new site, or once you've started to make the changes, if you've had the site around for a while, you're going to actually have to continue to do things. And one of the things that's very important is link building. And so link building essentially is getting your link out there so that your website then ends up getting associated with other websites. And you can think of it as contest. And being linked from different websites, you just need 500 links. As long as you get 500, then you're getting great traffic or great rankings. It's really an association game. So even if you're just linked to one particular site that has a lot of clout with Google, that's going to be more important than having 50 links on a bunch different websites. So it's really important to be able to identify what websites really have value for you to be getting links from, and then conversely, it's also very important to make sure that you're not associated with websites that are shady, that Google doesn't trust and doesn't like. So there's actually a good example of that. Recently, around the holiday season last year, JCPenney, they claim their marketing agency that they hired separately, may have been in-house, who knows, but they were doing these, they call it gray hat SEO techniques, where they were getting listed on gambling sites or even adult sites, sites that Google does not want associated with something like JCPenney. And because of the way they were tricking the system, Google or JCPenney was appearing on page 1, number 1, number 2 for really generic things like running shoes and coats and these things that during the holiday season, having your ranking that high is huge for business. And so basically what ended up happening is Google essentially banned them. They were relegated to file, and so now, because they're such a large organization, they're probably going to be able to get themselves back up in the rankings by, if you're a smaller organization, it's going to be very difficult for you to see any kind of movement and to gain that trust back from Google. The other thing that you can do is actually link into directories. So not just getting links on other people's websites, but they actually have specific websites with directory listings. And again, it's the same thing. You need to have the directory listings that are more respected, or as respected as possible. Of course, you have to pay for most of those, so it's also very important to know what kinds of directories you're buying these links on. Another great way to get your links out there, of course, is with press releases and potentially professional blogging. You can go out there and talk to bloggers, try to get guest spots, writing articles, things like that. So utilizing all of these tools, Facebook, Twitter, Google, blogging, all of these things are going to get your brand out there, allow you to interact with customers in a way that's going to build your eyes, get them to your website, which at the end of the day, when they're at your website, they're going to be picking up the phone or filling out a lead form or purchasing your product, and of course that ends up leading to more business. That's what we're all here for. So what we're going to do then is start taking some more questions. And Amy, do you want to start off with that?
That came in during the webinar that I wanted to answer. First, which is how often you should be posting on Facebook and Twitter. I would say in general you want to post on Facebook 2 or 3 times a week, and Facebook or on Twitter you want to post about 2 or 3 times a day. Now remember that you want to make sure that you're not posting something just for the sake of posting something, that you think you have this predefined idea of your mind. Oh, I have to tweet 3 times a day, so I'm just going to make something up because I'm pressed for time. You want to make sure that you're putting in a little time and effort into what you're saying, because once you put some time to take it back, it's out there forever. So make sure that you're posting quality information that's relevant, and that's probably the general rule of thumb for posting. Another question that came in was, how can you differentiate differentiate yourself when somebody's Facebook or Twitter name is already the name of your business. You can do that is try adding your location. If you are based in California and the other business names, add that, including an adjective or descriptive word that kind of describes your business, so that way people have a little more idea of how you can differentiate yourself from other people. Try just to make yourself distinct from that other business so that people, when they're searching for you, they know that you're going to you and not this other business. Another question that came in, is there any way to see how many people are visiting your social media sites or where they are coming from? There are ways to see how many people are visiting your Facebook page. On your Facebook page, there's something called View Insights, and you can see the average number of monthly users, of impressions, that post that you put out, the number of people who are viewing said posts and looking at your information. Facebook actually just unveiled a new metric today that says people talking about, which apparently measures the number of likes, comments, reshares, for things that you post on your Facebook page. And they're set to increase the amount of things they're measuring sites, so I would look to that for the future as even more information that they're going to gather. As far as where people are coming from, they haven't really on analytics the same way that you can analyze your website, like using Google Analytics, but kind of as a side note, a whole new tool out for Twitter. It's Twitter Analytics, and what it will do is essentially measure the number of people who are going to your website as a result of Twitter. So that's a really great way for you to measure directly between social media, or measure traffic as a result of social media directly to your website. So that's something that you probably want to look into a little more. One more question that came in was Google+. And Google+, if you don't already know what it is Google's new social media platform that came out sometime over this summer and has recently hit 50 million users. It's now open to the public, so we're expecting that it probably will continue to grow, and they'll add new features, likely Facebook, or not Facebook, brand pages being one of those add. As of right now, no one really has information about how those will function or features it will offer, so I don't want to kind of say any more about what you're likely to. It is pretty much on the day when Google brand pages, how it will come about, when it will come about, nobody. That's definitely something to be on the lookout for in the beginning. Okay, let me go back through the questions right here. Okay, well, another question that came in is regarding meta tags, which has to deal with your SEO strategy and words. For those of you who don't know, I'm not sure if he's referring to meta keywords or meta descriptions. I'll talk a little bit about both. The meta descriptions, as far as from a search perspective, those are the descriptions that you see when you're looking in Google. It's the one to tell the information that is on that specific web page. It's more for users to look at and see when they see the search engine pages, okay, what information is on here? Is this going to be relevant to what I'm looking for? Is this something that I'm looking to find? Something that is not visible to searchers. They are visible only for the search engines. It's for backend to kind of signal to the search engines what information is on that. Those two things play a very small factor in the overall SEO strategy. The main things that you want to focus on are your title tags, your body content for including your keywords. Meta descriptions and meta keywords are important as part of an SEO strategy, but they are a very small. You want to overlook them, and you want to make sure that they're distinct for each web page, but you don't want to think that they're the most important factor, because they aren't. Okay, I think we have time for maybe one more question. Okay, so one big thing is the difference between a Facebook brand page and a profile page. A profile page is a person's individual Facebook page. It would be my profile, John's profile, somebody's personal information. A brand page is reserved for a company or a service or a product. It is not for an individual. If you have a personal profile page, you will notice that you have to add that person as a friend, which typically you have to send a request and they have to approve whether they are going to be friends with the brand page. All you have to do is click you are a fan of that page, and you can receive updates and news and post on their wall and comment on their statuses. So that's the big thing. You defer that you are establishing a brand page, because if you're doing a profile page, it's not going to give you the same benefits as a Facebook page will.
So we'd like to thank everybody for. We're actually going to be doing about this here in the very near future, and including an archive of the whole session in case you came in a little late there. It'll still be the whole webinar. So again, we want to thank everybody, and
if you guys have any additional, you can send me an email. My email is amym@352media.com. Or savvy, you can tweet me. My handle is MOCZYNSKI.